It was good to see the Duke and Duchess of Excess shocked and shaken by the proximity of possibility, which is right up ahead, but due to royal myopia, Charles and Chlamydia can't see shit. Otherwise, the mirror would have clued them to their pretensions a long time ago. It's like the ability to smell out the truth. Once your nose has been tuned to measure everything against the falsehood of your own being, there is no truth. Plebians and the general sodium chloride of the earth are not immune to this phenomenon, and whole countries like Israel and the US, and all those countries owned by the Royal Lizard Emporium of the Feckless Doom, have a perpetually deviated septum that they only wish was caused by cocaine. This is another kind of deviation which appears to be a birth defect, because there never was a time it wasn't there, and they do seem able to pass it on to the junk accidents that account for their progeny. For decades and possibly longer, a small percentage of the privileged and self-styled elite have been plotting the eradication of most of the population and the full-time enslavement of the rest. In boardrooms and backrooms, in exclusive spas and vacation spots, in dark mahogany paneled bars and homes from Holmby Hills to Saddle River and more exotic confines like Corfu and Monaco, they've been playing the dozens and screwing their cousins and making the rules that apply to you and exclude them. This is what all of the terror industry is about. During the final stages of their final solution, carried out by quite a few members of the crew who pretended to be the object of the last final solution, they've been totally hip to the fact that people were going to object at some point. It was then necessary to create an enemy that didn't exist, on the way to defining everyone who disagrees with being tortured and killed as terrorists. Because of their devotion to ushery and because of population disparities, they decided it should be Muslims. Then they went for your shoes. Then they went for your underwear. I don't wear underwear because I've always been partial to using toilet paper instead. I said to myself, well, the next thing has got to be inside the body bombs, and it wasn't more than a week later that I saw that was the next threat. None of this is real. However, most everything else isn't real either, which is how they get everyone to believe in this bullshit, because most of what they already believe isn't true either. The rich and the powerful know what's coming. This is why you see all the billionaires suddenly in a hot flush about giving away half of their fortune or more. They know what's on the horizon. They get a different news feed than you do. All kinds of wild-ass cosmetic enhancements are being employed to turn a legion of sow's ears into silk purses. You're going to see all kinds of things like this shortly. You think you've heard some lies by now? You ain't heard nothing yet. We're going to see an epidemic of false epiphanies. The road to Damascus is going to be jammed with the faithless finding a workable Jesus. So many rats are going to be jumping ship that it will look like a dirigible. The ship will be singing that R. Kelly song. This is all going on, and you're going to be hearing about it. A good portion of them are building fortresses in Paraguay and other locations, which is part of the reason for all the warmongering in Central and South America. It's not just revolution that is coming. There is a power coming too, and they know about it. Don't think they don't know about it. By the time they're through, not to be confused with when they'll stick a fork in them they're done through, most people will believe that had it not been for the poor and middle class holding them back, the rich and powerful would have already turned the earth into a rotating Garden of Eden for everyone. Many people will be ruminating about whether or not they shouldn't just kill themselves and their families as a gesture to this effect. Anything can be sold on Monday and be traditional truth by the end of the week, and if you don't believe that, then you don't watch much TV. It would be pretty grim for the rest of us if it weren't for what's really coming down the plains. That too has been coming for a while. It's been coming longer than they have been plotting to raise hell on earth. You can say that the game is rigged, because it is. The game of life, played out before us, is all the result of a crooked house and loaded dice. However, that game is only a smaller feature of a larger game that involves these players being played even better than they play everyone else. Big surprises are on the way, people. Fasten your seatbelts. The bad guys and their house police have been working overtime to set the advantage in their favor. They've got a lot more to lose than you, because most of you, by now, don't have much left to lose. I'm not talking about your homes and your savings, your jobs and your dreams. I'm talking about your joie de vivre and all that gone missing ambiance that used to make life worth living. It's no surprise to me that you're trying to escape in any way that you can, just so you don't have to pay attention to the fact that everything that made life worth living has been edited out of the movie. That's why the soundtrack so accurately reflects the emptiness and paucity of your day-to-day. I know you're frightened, but you're nowhere near as frightened as they are. They are terrified and in denial at the same time. Halliburton is talking about giving Nigeria hundreds of millions of dollars to save Dick Cheney. They must have made billions is all I can think. Nothing is going to save Dick Cheney, or any of the rest of them. The word is out amongst the savage underclass. Is going to be looting heaven and payback central shortly, because the ones who are going to tear up the joint also know what's coming. The twisted under and upper classes both know that the time for madness and mayhem is coming up. What is this mysterious power that's got them all hot and bothered, without a name or a face to attach to it? I wouldn't want to speculate. I know what my limited definition is, but that's not going to be any help in terms of understanding or influencing it. The secret is to be influenced, and those so engaged know what I'm talking about. I wouldn't be too concerned about body scanners, concentration camps, and instant world wars. That's just a lot of noise being generated to distract and confuse you. Any of those things are temporary at best, and possibly not operative in the time remaining. We are going to hold witness to a most singular and spectacular series of events that only those out of the loop would attempt to describe. It's going to be something else. It's going to be everything else. I imagine there are any number of readers scratching their heads and wondering what I'm talking about. I'm not the guy to ask. Try to have a little patience and endure a little longer. Find a singularity in your thoughts and try not to analyze and speculate. Whatever got you this far will get you where you have to go. We've all had crises we did not think we would survive and often cannot remember now. We've all been in tight places and can't recall how it is we got out of them and on with what followed. Apprehension for the future is a musical lead sheet. Thank your lucky stars that you are not the Duke and Duchess of excess or any other crazed opportunists who now feel the reins of power and protection, never mind privilege, slipping from their hands. Hold true to what is inside of you and just put one foot in front of the other, or stand still if that makes more sense. You've got what you need if you don't get seduced into thinking you don't. The mouse behind the icebox is safe from the cat. It's fear that makes it want to run for cover somewhere else. End transmission.